Three, two, one. Carlos, happy to see you again.
What's up, Leon?
Doing great. How are you?
Fantastic, brother. Fantastic.
So, where are you calling from today?
Yeah, I live in near Pasadena, California.
Okay,
So
got it.
Los Angeles area.
Good stuff. Good place. So, thank you for jumping in. You've been one of our best clients for sure. It's been a pleasure talking to you and helping you untangle everything that was going on and help you advance. But please tell us your story. Why did you join in the beginning? What were you trying to solve? What personal problems or professional situation you thought you wanted a way out? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So basically I joined back in February of 2022. And I started off the year with the goal of launching a business because I had been procrastinating on that for a while. And to be honest with you, I was searching for basically more wisdom to educate myself, because a lot of what you guys actually did was kind of what I wanted to pursue as a business. And so that was a main driver for me enrolling. And so we hopped on a call back in February, and you closed me on the deal, and just started diving in and kind of just soaking everything in, just trying to elevate my performance at the end of the day. I have, just for context, I'm 24 years old, and over the past 4 years, like I'm a lot of the people in the program, people who are probably watching this right now, they want that edge. They're constant and never-ending improving individuals, just like myself. And over the past 4 years, I had invested over $40,000 in myself in different training programs, masterminds, experiences, and stuff. But I hate to say it, I had never gotten an ROI, like tangible ROI, money in my bank on those marketing courses, on those masterminds, on those business coaching courses and programs. And I realized it wasn't that the program didn't work. It was because I had an execution problem. And that's why when I invested in this, I'm like, man, I need to be operating at my peak daily. What really resonated with me was, how to be as productive as possible in a day than most others do in a week, because there would be days and weeks that would go by where I didn't feel proud of what I did accomplish during the day, just because I lacked focus, lacked energy, lacked consistency, didn't have certain rituals dialed in. And so when I invested in Selfmastered Performance Accelerator program, it really helped me just focus on a lot of fundamentals and just be a lot more consistent and actually execute on the plans that I set for myself, so I could actually reap the fruits. And I don't know how much deeper you want me to go
of all your previous investments, but in terms of execution, because execution, we're breaking down very deeply, right? Execution can be, it can be a problem in prioritization, can be a problem in consistency, can be a lack of focus, can be a lack of energy, can be a lack of fundamental understanding of what really moves the needle. What would you say you were struggling with back then?
Yeah, I would just say, I think it started with the vision, because not because I think I set plans and goals before, but getting clear on the vision helped a lot, actually. I know that's part of week 2, I believe, in the program. It's been a while since I went through it. And actually getting clear on different categories of my life, what the actual vision was, I think allowed me to clarify and simplify a lot of what I was doing in the day, and actually focus my efforts and go all in, for example, on the business goals that I had, and on the personal goals that I had, and just kind of executing the plan. I don't know if I'm answering your question.
No, you are. So it's lack of clarity on the macro, not having a clear understanding of what is it you're trying really to become. So then the micro becomes overwhelming because there's no clarity.
Right. Yeah. So definitely started with the vision, getting clear on that, and then finding the blueprint of seeing what's worked with others, right? And obviously that was part of my plan of being focused on getting that dialed in, and then at the end of the day, just executing on the roadmap that
we create together. Yeah. So one of the best things of what we do is that we're actually operating with human psychology, neuroscience, right? So you don't need to change it every 6 months, like most marketing problems have to change, right? Because things get updated. What worked for someone doing X will work for someone doing B if we're discussing execution and performance, because the human mind works as like it works. It's been 200,000 years building it, right? So if you do the right things, you get the right results, which
Yeah.
is the good thing, right? And in professionally, right? Because we help you also do a transition. You were in the beginning, you had like several plans. You didn't really know which route to go.
Yeah.
You had a good career. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so basically, long story short, if you want the headline version, I went from unfulfilled 9 to 5er, working with probably I used to work with Jay Abraham, who is a marketing legend. If you guys are in the marketing space, agency space, online coach or entrepreneur, Jay Abraham is a marketing legend. He's the equivalent of Dan Kennedy. He's a business expert, growth expert. I worked under him for the past 3 years. Pursued him as a mentor, and great opportunity. Got to meet Tony Robbins, a lot of really high level people, which was a blessing. But I was unfulfilled in the work because I knew I was suboptimizing my potential, and that's why I wanted to launch a business. But I went from unfulfilled 9 to 5er. You guys really gave me the clarity and allowed me to just pivot and accelerate that pivot to crystallizing what I actually wanted to do, and start attacking it with the accountability on a weekly basis with how you guys have your program structured, to actually go from unfulfilled 9 to 5er making 3K a month to now launching my own business, feeling fulfilled with what I do, who I serve, making over 10K plus per month, and on track to tripling that. So really 10xing my monthly income within the next 30 to 60 days, as a result of the accountability, the support, the clarity, and the direction. So yeah, definitely got a more than 10x ROI. Tripled my monthly income as a direct result, right? But I think before the end of 2022, I'm really believing that I'll be 10xing my monthly income as a result.
I'm so happy for you.
Loving what I do, really being in alignment with my vision, which I created through the program. And yeah, like having the freedom, enjoying what I do, doing what I want to do, when I want to do, with who I want to do it, and having the finances to be able to do that now. So it's just the beginning. But yeah, that's high level view.
Dude, that's absolutely fantastic. So as you said, you just needed the right program to help you execute and perform on everything you already knew, right? So it was just getting out of your own way, making sure you put the effort, and intelligent effort, right? So effectiveness is huge in our program. It's not about doing stuff, it's about only doing the right things.
Yeah.
So, and in terms of your mind, like, so in terms of how many hours of deep work, focus, flow you're able to do, how consistent you find yourself, how's the energy, like more on the personal side, things that you obviously realize have changed within you.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is this was a big epiphany. Like it would always be so hard for me to get into deep work. And I think the biggest aha moment was because it wasn't in alignment with what I really wanted to do. And when I started, like when I tried doing deep work for like the 9 to 5 that I was unfulfilled with, like I would do deep work, but it would be really hard, right? And like I would, like, are the 90 minutes up yet? Are the 120 minutes up yet? But when I started actually creating a business and launching that business and actually getting clients, like time disappeared and I would get in flow state, right? Because number one, it was in alignment. And number two, like I didn't want to stop working, right? And so I think a big epiphany is when you're in alignment with, number one, get clear on your vision. Number two, start attacking it consistently. I think that was probably the biggest shift. Again, it starts with the vision, but like I would work 8-9 hours a day on the business and not feel like I was working because I knew, one, the tangible benefits that it could produce, but also it was in alignment with the skill sets, with what I was passionate about, with what I was purpose driven to actually make happen. Right. So I think that's a big aha, because I didn't really get that epiphany until when I started this program and like actually being in the weeds of things. So
that's interesting, because that the way we frame it in a program is how Aristotle, the Greek philosopher, framed it. That we humans are teleological beings. Telos meaning goal in Greek. Without goals, we cannot function. It can be big goals, small goals, stretch goals, smart goals, doesn't really matter. But we need those goals. And if the big goal, which is the vision, that has to be perfectly mapped out, does not relate with your everyday job, it's going to be a hustle to really make your brain focus, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And it's also frustrating and kind of, I don't like the word, but depressing when you're not following your vision, because that's what leads you to hitting the snooze button way too often, which was a result of me. Like I would hit the snooze button way too often. It would be hard to get out of bed, even though I slept 8 to 10 hours, feeling exhausted. But when I started living in alignment with my vision, actually pursuing and making progress that on a daily basis, it was easier to wake up, even though I slept uh, less than 7 or 8 hours on certain days, right? Like I'd be excited to get back to it because I was living on mission at the end of the day.
Totally. No, but that's something you also see in sports, in athletes and people doing sports, when they truly connect, when they have a clear vision about their own career, because some of them, they just want to play, right? And that's okay. They love the game, and that's okay. But the best of the best, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Rafael Nadal, doesn't really matter. If you truly listen to what they say, they love the game, but there's something beyond that, which is what you discover in a program. What is actually the thing that I'm building towards? What do I really want to become? And how do I make the future happen now by doing the things that the future me will be doing? Dude, that's absolutely fantastic. So, just to close it a bit, in terms of the structure, because what we do is pretty unique in the sense that we have research-backed product, we have service, we have the tool, the dashboard, we have the community. How did you find that? How did you find the community?
Yeah. So overall, I mean, I love the way you guys have it structured. I've been in a lot of programs before, but if I could say one word to describe the structure of how you guys built your program, I would say world class. Just from the little things, I would say I really enjoyed the fact that immediately when I enrolled, like I didn't necessarily have to wait to get started. As a high performer, I don't want to waste time. I'm sure no one watching this video likes to waste time. So immediately when I enrolled, within like an hour or less, I love that you guys sent a questionnaire of like what would a win look like for you, because it kind of already stretched my mind of like, okay, I'm making this big investment. This would be at least worth a 10x ROI for me. And writing that down, number one, was a huge instant victory, which already got me a momentum. And then the fact that I like the fact that you guys, from at least when I went through it, it was 8 weeks of training, I think. And you would get access to week one training, right? And then the next week would come up and then you would get access next week. So that way you could actually focus on what you learned that week. But I also loved how you really during the program painted the picture of like, hey, here's before what most people who like this is your state right now, and this is what you can expect after.
Mm-hmm.
And I even remember writing down on a sheet of paper and having it on I don't have it now, it's somewhere in my room, but writing all those befores and afters and kind of visualizing myself like hey, from like low performer to high performer, operating at your peak on a daily basis for at least like 3, 6, 9 hours a day, right? And I would like visualize myself doing that, so that way every single day I was in the program, be like, these are the results I'm going after. Like, this is why I invested in the program. So one, that's a pro tip for all of you guys watching this, who are considering investing in the program, which I recommend. But also, I love the fact that one, the community is there. But I think where I got the most value was on the weekly group calls with you, and because that's more of like instant answers for my unique situation. Mm-hmm. Because every time I jumped on those, and to be honest, I still kind of jump on them. The answers you gave me were like, for example, I jumped on one of the group calls yesterday, right? And we were talking about alter ego, because I'd kind of been in a slump and needed to get back in momentum, like after a week of being in like this roller coaster for some reason. Mm-hmm. And you gave me instant feedback that I already took immediate action on. Like, I just bought a standing desk. I just bought, did certain things to shift my performance, and I'm back on track, back on deep work. And I know it's going to have long-term benefits, right? So that was probably the community is cool, but the most value that I found was in the weekly group calls with you, getting that instant feedback to start executing, as well as just the way the training is structured, because they're evergreen principles. And mm-hmm. really just one shift that you get from there that you can constantly just stack is just going to continue giving you the edge for you to perform at your peak on a daily basis.
Totally, dude. Thanks for saying that, because to me that's the most important thing, is being able to troubleshoot in an instant. Because I've been coached hundreds of people, right? So oftentimes you see the same patterns repeated, and you see those that are more ambitious, less ambitious, high performers, average performers going to another level, and you can see more or less that the path is always the same. Just like you said that we have the program structure in 1 week, then then the following week, is because if you do not know the problems you have now, how can you create that vision and the roadmap, and then how you can create the execution, right? So it has to be streamlined.
Yeah,
And
one more thing I'll say. You also don't just provide the training, but you also, I love the there's a, when you sign up, you get like that roadmap that goes over like week 1, week 2, week 3. It's a very clear picture of like the entire journey and roadmap, and I really like that because it shows me what to expect, right, over the 8 weeks or however long the program is, right? And that gave me a visual of like, okay, to structure my day so I can really execute and get the most out of the program as well. So you made it, and that's value in that's value in itself. What else was I gonna say? Yeah, one more thing I'll say is, I, apart from other programs that I've been in that I've probably paid more money to be in than this, what I really appreciated was the second mile service, because at the end of the day, Chick-fil-A does this, but they say my pleasure instead of your welcome, right? And I believe that you guys have a second mile service culture, because even when it took me a little bit longer than probably other clients to get headway, but I mean, I've had a really powerful transformation, like life-changing transformation at the end of the day. But I know as a result of your guys's, you, Benjamin, additional accountability calls, checking in, having that second mile service culture, that really helped me actually get to that, because I feel like I've been 3 feet from gold for a while, but it was that second mile service that really helped me to actually like stay committed, stay accountable, and actually finish what I start. And that was a big belief for me. I hated saying I don't finish what I start, because I even would go and do my taxes year after year, and as a business, and they'd be like, "You didn't make any money?" I'm like, "Nope, didn't make any money." They're like, "You invested $20,000 this year?" I'm like, "Yep." "You didn't make money?" "Nope." And this year I'm gonna do my taxes. I'm like, "Yo, got some returns." I wanted to share that because I
Dude,
hated not
now
what I
you're a
started.
different person. Now you're doing different person on a totally new level with a totally new future, and we're gonna be supporting you every step of the way. So,
Yeah,
when you
man.
grow, new problems will come, but you'll be better ready, and you have all the protocols to readjust. So you have everything you need, mate.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm just getting started. I'm excited.
Yes, I'm excited for you. Last question. Who do you think this program will be for? What kind of person?
Yeah, I would say if you are a coach, a consultant, an agency owner, someone in the online space, a solopreneur who knows what you need to do, but you have an execution problem, you have bought the other marketing courses, the business coaching, but for some reason you were like me, who've invested thousands of dollars in the past, but just have not actually launched that business or gotten those clients or launched that new strategy or that funnel or whatever it is for any reason, because you like the execution and finishing what you start. I would say seriously consider the Self-Mastered Performance Accelerator program, because at the end of the day, you probably know what you need to do. You just have an execution problem. And that's what it was for me. And when you start getting dialed in and actually operating at your peak, like you're going to start having more progress and productivity in one day than others did in a week. You're going to start, which at the end of the day is going to add more money to your bank account, because you're going to have 4 times more productivity than other people did in a whole year. Right. And the goal is to infuse 12 months worth of progress in 3 months. Right. I like the 12-week year, right, is a cool book. But a lot of it is just increasing your productivity. So at the end of the day, you can, one, feel proud of yourself at the end of every day, but also be making more money and being able to give more with that money.
Totally. But also on top of that, I would say there's something in relation with the beliefs, right? Because we work with people that at the beginning, they don't believe they can pull it off.
Yeah.
And we operate a fundamental change in their belief system that, as we say internally, that they become inevitable. Did that happen to you? How did that like self-confidence and self-efficacy evolve during the program?
Yeah. I think if I'm hearing you correctly, I think when you start stacking victories, that builds up even more confidence. So I think the hardest part is going from 0 to 1. At least for me, it was. But once you start, like, you doing the work, right? You're doing the deep work, and it's all like you told me. Benjamin actually told me this because I was really struggling from getting from 0 to 1, and in that case, like actually launching my business and getting my first client, right? Getting clear on my offer and actually getting my first client, right? And stop procrastinating, stop leaning to fear versus faith and action. And he told me this thing that really impacted me. He's like, number one, he said, have you ever been consistent for something for 90 days? I'm like, damn, I haven't. So that hit me. But number two, he said, focus on winning the day, right? If you win the day, you're going to win the week. If you win the week, you're going to win the month. If you win the month, you're going to win the quarter. If you win the quarter, you're going to win the year. If you win the year, you're going to win the decade. If you win the decade, you're going to win your life.
Your life.
Focus on winning the day, right? And I would even take it down. Focus on winning that next deep work session, that next spring session, as you say, right? And then like start with one a day, right? And then maybe next week you go, and what I really like doing is actually tracking how many ring fence sessions of deep work I had every single week. And what, like I started off, let's just say with 8. Okay. Next week, let make sure it's 9, 10, 11, 12.
There you go.
Right. And then the goal is like 20, 25, 30 a week. Right. But you got to start with 1. Right. So, and at the end of the day, you doing that for a consistent period of time, regardless of how much, like you keep stacking those deep work sessions, it's only a matter of time before you're going to start going from 0 to 1. And once you hit 0 to 1, man, that confidence, that self-efficacy, like you said, starts stacking, and you become a new identity at the end of the day. You feel like, man, this is possible. But the hardest part is getting from 0 to 1. At least for me, I struggled for 4 years getting from 0 to 1. So,
but you joined the right crew, and we made that happen. I'm very, very proud that and blessed that we're able to work with you. It's interesting because in the sports psychology community, there's a saying that says, "Don't try to be better, try to be your best." And it's exactly the same thing you just discussed. This 1% better every day, this self-improvement advice, which sounds good, but it's not really actionable. The real thing that is going to transform you is giving it all every single day. Be the best you can. Oftentimes, you won't be better than yesterday, but that's okay because you're building capacity. You are stretching your muscles and your muscle and your mental muscles, right? So it's very interesting what you say, because that's a core saying in the performance psychologist community. It's like, don't try to be better, just be your best and see what happens. Carlos, absolute pleasure talking to you. Again, it's incredible having you in the community. Talk very soon, the next coaching call, whenever you need us. And in the meantime, keep stacking wins. Keep winning, my friend.
100%. I will, sir. God bless you. Thank you.
Cheers.